Hello and welcome back. It's puzzle time with Sudoku Sleuth, and today we're playing Kropki Killers and Clouds. Now, I didn't include the full title here on the thumbnail, it just wouldn't fit. So, the idea of having Kropki Killers and Clouds obviously meant we're talking about ninjas that are dressed in black and white, somehow with their phenomenal skills, using their clouds to float above their targets and just, I guess, spring upon them and assassinate them. Surely that's what Killers in Clouds is all about. I think I even misspelled clouds in this particular case. Just say, yep, it is meant to be with a K. So the reason this is all about clouds, and you can see that in the thumbnail, is it's actually fog. And I know that fog is one of the most favorite variants amongst this channel. So without further ado, let's get right stuck in and take a look at today's puzzle. So, Kropki Killers and Clouds by Megan 033. We've got the following set of rules as well. So, we have normal Sudoku rules apply. That means place the digits 1 to 9 once each in every row, in every column, and in every 3x3 box. Digits in a cage must sum to the number printed in its corner, and the digits cannot repeat within the cage. So, this is standard killer cage rules. If this was a 2, for example, this would have to be a 5. So that these two cells add up to 7. These two cells would add up to 13, and these 3 cells have to add up to 9. We have Kropki dots. A black dot between cells indicates a value with a 2-to-1 ratio. You can't see any right now, but if we assume for a second, I'm going to draw it actually, that this is a black dot, not a cross, and that was indeed a 2 with a 5 next to it. This could be 1 or 4, so as long as one of these two cells is double the other, that's absolutely fine. We can also see a white Kropki dot in here. So if that was a 3, for example, it could be 2 or 4. White means they have to be consecutive. Not all dots are shown, so that certainly means that if this was, for example, a 1, nothing wrong with that being a 4, because these two cells don't have a black dot between them, is not a problem. And that being a 3, well, I've already placed a 4, and you can see that's not a problem with the white dot. Lastly, of course, is the fog that we have in the puzzle. So the grid is partially covered with fog, and correctly placed digits will clear the fog around that cell. If that was indeed a 1, it will clear all of the cells surrounding it, hopefully revealing more clues to allow us to actually continue with the puzzle. So, if you want to, well, take down these Kropki killers that are hiding in the clouds and using weird magic to be able to sort of use that, link will be in the description down below as usual for you to play along. And with that said, I'm going to restart the clock and see how I get on. So these are, like, I'm tempted to just do some additions. The reason I'm sort of looking at this and I'm thinking, all of these cages are ambiguous. There are many ways of doing 9. I'll just sort of show you some of the options. 1, 2, 6, 1, 3, 5, and I think 2, 3, 4. 7, I think there are actually 3 different ways of doing it. 1, 6, 2, 5, and 3, 4. So with so much ambiguity, and well, you can actually take a look at these. It's interesting that there's so many digits that overlap. It's in fact exactly the same set of digits. It's not entirely surprisingly. 7, 8, and 9 are going to be a bit of a struggle to fit in a 7 cage or a 3-cell 9 cage. But it does mean that there's a lot of pressure in that I need to use 5 of these digits in these cages. But anyway, what I'm really thinking more is 7 plus 13 is 20, plus 29, sorry, plus 9 is 29. These two cells have to add up to 16, which is 7 and 9. Reason I know this, of course, is as part of the Sudoku rule sets, it means that every cell in here in this box are made up of the digits 1 to 9 once each. You add up all of these cells, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, all the way to 9, you get to 45. 45, take away the 29 that we can see, gives me 16, and 16 in 2 cells can only be 7 and 9. That also means this has to be the 5, 8. If you remember, the 7, 9, and 8 couldn't fit in any of these cells. So 7, 9 is taken care of. 5, 8 now is in here. And now, am I actually forced to do anything in here? So I think the answer is no, because I could do something like 1, 2, 6 in here. and 3, 4 there. The other possibility, I think, is I could actually not even use a 1 at all. I could do 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 6 in here. So you can see there is different combos, which doesn't work, but it does give me my first digit here, which is going to be a 5. This is a white Kropki dot. It's got to be consecutive. If this is an 8, this would have to be 7 and 9, and that would break my puzzle. So that's 5, that's 8. This is 4 or 6, which actually both work on a black Kropki dot. If that was a 6, that would be fixed with a 3. If that was a 4, that would be, well, it's not an 8, it'll be a 2. 4 with a 2, I'm going to guess this is a 2-cell 5 cage. Let me just double check. Yeah, digits cannot repeat within a cage. So this can only be 2 cells. If it's 3 cells and I can't repeat any of them, the minimum is 1, 2, 3. That gets me to 6. That breaks that cage. Now, 2 ways of doing a 5, 1 and 4, and 2 and 3. If that was a 4, 2, I've broken both options. Long way of saying this is definitely a 6, this is definitely a 3. These are 1, 4. 3 in here now removed from the 7. So it's not 3, 4, it's not 2, 5. It is in fact 1, 6, and this is in fact 2, 3, 4, which gives me a 1 in here. Clearly that can't be a 4 anymore, and that's a 4. 3 cells for an 8 cage has to have a 1. If I don't include a 1, the minimum is 2, 3, 4. That adds up to 9, too big. That's a 1. The 2 options for an 8 cage are 3, 4, which they aren't, or 2, 5. So this is certainly 2, 5. Not 1, not 2, not 4. This can only be a 3, 6 black Kropki dot. Of course, I have the 8 available. What, the 4 is gone. Right, let's think about this for a second. If this is a 5, this would be 4 or 6. I think it works. If this is a 2, this would be a 1 because 3 is not available. That also still works. The 1 would go onto a 2 on the black Kropki dot. The 4 would go onto a 2 in the black Kropki dot because the 8 is not available. And the 6 would go onto a 3 in the black Kropki dot. And this can't be a 6 because, well, 3 6s here. And 1 and 4 definitely map onto 2. 2, therefore that's a 5, that's a 2, that's not a 2. What are these? These are 7, 8, 9s. This here is not a 6. I'm just thinking what can be consecutive with 7, 8, 9. So obviously that would be 6, 7, 8, or 9. It's not a 6 though. That's another 7, 8, 9. That's a triplet in this column. Not a very useful triplet right now, but a triplet nonetheless. Where am I going with this? I'm not entirely sure. So 15 and 2 cells is either 7, 9 or 6, 6, 9 or 7, 8. It's not 8 or 6 in this cell. So this is 7 or 9. This is 6 or 8. Is it this 8 cage? You don't even see what it is. You don't even know if it's a 3 cell or a 2 cell. So I'm not convinced. Don't know what's going on here. This white Kropki dot. We know it's not 1, 2, 2, 3, or 3, 4, or 4, 5, or 5, 6. It can be 6, 7. In fact, I'm almost certain it is 6, 7. Because 7, 8 is not available and 8, 9 is not available. So that is actually fixed. And then with the remaining cells, they're essentially from 1, 3, 4, and 9. That's not a 4. 1, 3, 4, and 9. Yeah, that's correct. That wasn't a 4. That's not restricted, but I mean, it doesn't help me. More Sudoku maybe. 9 is not there. Hang on, let me think about this. These 2 cells, we know they're not in here. They have to be there, these 2 cells. This cell and this cell are the same. Just going to color them for a second. These 2 cells have to be in here because they're not 1, 3, or 6. So two of them are 7, 8, 9. Well, I mean, the 7, 9 is clearly not there. So this is one of them. And then the 8 is, well, or the 7, 8, 9 is free to be anywhere else. In fact, yeah, these two cells plus this cell are all looking essentially in these 4 cells. There's 3 of them in these 4 cells. That can't be an 8. That has to be a 6. Sorry, 6. That has to be a 9. That's not a 9. That's not a 9, obviously. That's a 3. That's a 6. This is not 1, 2, not 3, 6. It is 2, 4, or 8, and definite for connecting these two, but all of them are allowed. Means I need a 4 in here, but we knew that anyway. This cell here is interesting. It's not 1, 2, 3, or 4. It can be 5. It's not 6. I guess it can be 7 or 8. Not that interesting after all. Come on, Sleuth, why is it so hard? 6. You can see just, oh, 6 is already placed. Right, where does 2 go? So essentially, 7, 8, 9, plus 4, plus 2, plus 5. Yeah, it's not enough. What are these 3 cells? That includes an 8. Just Sleuth. Just how about some more Sudoku sometimes? 7, 8, 9. I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's not an 8. That's a 2, 4 pair. Therefore, this is from 5, 7, 8, and it can't be a 5. That's the 5. This is 2, 4. These 3 cells are now known. They are 1, 3, and 5. Again, not helping me. That 6 gives me that 7 across, and that 6 again. I'm pretty sure that's not a 9, otherwise that would be at least an 8, well, definitely an 8. And that's too big for a 7, so that's not a 9. I think that means there is only one place for a 9, which is in here. That's a 7, 8 pair. That's the 9. That's not a 7. If it's a 1, that would be a 2. That would be a 5. That looks fine. If it's a 3, what's interesting is I can't make that a 4. Because the 4 would require a second 3, and then that would break this cell. So if it's a 3, it's still a 2 with a 5. And then lastly, if it's a 4, that's a 5, that's a 2. It can't be a 3 for the same logic. It'll be 4, 3, 4 again. So that's a 2, 5 pair. That's not a 2. That is a 2. That's a 2-cell 8 cage, which is not 2, 6, but basically can be anything else. 1, 5, sorry, not 1, 5, 3, 5. The 5 would be here, the 3 would be there. That works. And then 1, 6, sorry, 1, 7 doesn't work because we've got a 7, 8 pair. That's forced. Do we know what these are? This looks like 6, 7, or 8. I don't think anything else would work. So 6, 7, 8 with a 7. Down here we have a 1, 4 with 6 or 8, and it's not a 6. So this is 6, 7. This is 1, 4, 8, and that's not a 4 because of this 4. That means that's not a 3. 2, 5 is still valid. This 1, 4, 8, what's going on here? I'm not quite appreciating what it's saying. This, surely there is a way to break this. 7, 9, yeah. 8, 7, 8, 7. Not that it was exactly helpful. This is 1, 2, and 6. This is 3, 4, and 8. And this is, well, we have 7 and 9, I can see that, and a 5. None of which is useful. In here we do have, it's not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, it is 6, 8, or 9. No 6, no 8, it's 1, 2, or 4 with a definite 2, is what I'm going to say, because it can't be 6 or 8. So it can't be a 3, 6 pair, and it can't be a 4, 8 pair. So that's forced. And that's not a 1. Definite 2 means that's not a 2. Not exactly loaded with information here. It says, so I guess I'm going to have to just carry on doing a bit of Sudoku. It's just, this looks quite messy, but maybe there is 1, 6, 7, 9, not really. I mean, I know the 6, 7 is not here, but I think I can be basically anything else, which is 1, 9, and 8. Not great. I feel like I'm missing something. So the 7 is in here. Let's just think about this for a second. 3 is there. 7 is here. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9 done. 5, this is a 5, 7 pair. And these are 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a 2, 4 pair. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. Unfortunately, no 2, 1, 3, or 4. Right, I am definitely missing something. Let me just think about this. 2s line up in here. That can't be the 2. This is the 6. No, this is not the way to go about doing this. What am I missing? Am I just like really missing some classic Sudoku that I'm just not seeing for some reason? Such as this is not a 4 because it's a white Kropki dot, not a black Kropki dot. That's a 1, that's an 8, that's a 4. That 8 helps marginally. In another way of saying it, not at all. These 4s gives me a 4 up here, which gives me a 5 and a 2, a 4 and a 2. That's not a 5. These cells are now at least somewhat known. I need an 8, obviously a second 1, 9, and a 3. So there's a 3 and an 8 in here. Let's think about, this can't be a 1, because that can't be a 2, because of this black Kropki dot. So that's not a 1. It can be a 3 with a 4 in here, and that would be 1, 2, possible. 8 would put a 9, because it can't be 7, and 9 would place an 8, which also still works. You know, no it doesn't. 8, 9 would break this cell. So no 8, 9s in here. This is in fact fixed. This is 3, this is 4, this is 2, this is 1. No 1s here. 4, 2. That 3 moves a 3 from here. Doesn't help me with my 1, 5 fully. This is a 3-cell 9 cage. Whenever I come across a 3-cell 9 cage, first question I'm trying to answer is there a 1? Because if it isn't, then it's 2, 3, 4, and it has to have a 1 because there's a 4 in there. And the 1 has to be in one of these 2 cells. That's not a 1, that's not a 1, that's 6, 2, 1. That can't be a 9. 6 and 8 both work with 3, 4. That's not a 2 because of this 2. That is a 2. 1. Right. What is this cell? So I know it's not 8 or 9. So the 8s and 9s have to be outside this 1 cell. So this is 1 or 5. Sorry, this 9 cell amongst 3. So that would be the 9. That would be the 8. These are not 8. That 9 should helpfully give me a whole bunch of things in here, and does. And these are 1/8. That 1/5 is done. Right, let's think about options in here. Yeah, these need to be consecutive, so that's not a 3. That could be 4 and 5, or, okay, no 3s. Doesn't help me with the other 3s. Doesn't help me with my 5, 7, 9s. Not exactly helpful. 1s, not enough. Is it? No. No, it's not enough, because there's a 1 also possibly in here. No, it isn't. The 1s, it doesn't line up. I was just sort of looking at this combination of 1s and hoping it will actually give me something, but it doesn't. Let's imagine that's a 5. With a 1, that would be 6. That would have to be a 3. Possible. So 5, 1, and 3 works. And if that's a 1, these two cells would have to be 8. 2, 6 is not available. 3, 5, we're learning, is available. And obviously 1, 7 is not available if that's a 1. Can a 3, 5 be reversed? Short answer is yes. But basically, this is a 1, 3, 5 collection. Notice, 1, 3, 5 triplet, which gives me an 8 in here, a 1 in there, but this is 7 or 9, which I think, no, it does work, because that can be an 8 with a 7, and this could be a 9. Ignore that. This is not 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5, but it's essentially 7, 9 here is interesting. Not interesting enough to break it. Oh, that 1 gives me a 3. That's not a 3, that's a 1, 5 pair. The 7, 9 pair surely does something here. Anyway, options 6, 7. Let's just write them all down for a second. That's not a 6. So we know that there has to be an even number and an odd number on a white Kropki dot for them to be consecutive. And then the question I'm trying to answer is the even number the 8, which would be only in here, and then that would be down to 7 or 9, possibly useful, or is it a 6 and a 7? And for the life of me, I can't see why that's a problem. Just taking a quick glance if there is anything that's sort of sticking out, like, one of the digits being only available in one cell, but the 9s are in multiple locations, the 8s are in multiple locations, 7 is 2, 5 is as well, and so is the 3, so it's not that. Triplets, not really, not at all. What is the rest of this? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are all from 6, 7, 8, 9. We know that there is essentially 2 consecutive digits in here. And, an even and an odd, and an even and an odd. And I'm just trying to think, what would that break down here? So we've got a 5, 7, 9 triplet, which I'm going to say means this is not 7 or 9, this is 6 or 8. That can't be the solution. Really? Maybe? Okay. I'll take it. 6 and 8 means that's a 4, that's a 5. These are not 5s. These are not 4s. That 4 gives me a 3 and a 6, which is very helpful. That's an 8, therefore. These are not 8. That means that is a 6 and a 7 and a 9 and a 7 and a 9 again. That's a 7, that's a 5. That gives me 1, 3, 5 in here. 1 and 5. 4. That's not a 6, that's an 8-9 pair. That gives me 8, 9, 8, 3, 9, and if I've not made any mistakes, 7 for the finish. Almost 1,000 people, so clearly somebody else has already featured this puzzle. And I'm sorry if you guys have already seen it and played it, but I mean, it's a fantastic puzzle from Megan. Really intricate, really intricate. I'm just actually really curious. Is that the only way to solve the puzzle? Because that seems doable for a 1-star difficulty rated puzzle. So, like, it's not unheard of, but I'm sure I must have missed something. I'm almost half tempted. Actually, I am going to do it. So what I'm going to do here is rewind and just enable, if I can find it, check pencil marks on. So that's not a 4. It's not a game changer. If I put 6, 7, 8, or 9, the answer is yeah, it doesn't see it. So I don't think it was Sudoku blindness that struck here. The way to see this was indeed the 5, 7, 9 triplet, limit that to 6, 8, and then the 6, 8 pair and just go from there. So, wow, fantastic. Fantastic. Phenomenal puzzle from Megan. I hope that you guys enjoyed it and you enjoyed the solve as well. We do have quite a few fog puzzles here. So if you enjoyed this puzzle, if you enjoyed the solve, please do subscribe. I think probably only like half of you who actually regularly view the channel are subscribed. And take a look at some of the other fog puzzles that YouTube's going to recommend to you next. Bye-bye for now.